President Donald Trump said on Thursday his administration would issue an executive order advising police departments to adopt national standards for the use of force. Speaking at a campaign-style event at a church in Dallas, Trump added that his support is unwavering for police and said progress would not be made by labeling millions of Americans as racist.
We'll take care of our police. We're not defunding police. If anything, we're going the other route. We're going to make sure that our police are well trained, perfectly trained. They have the best equipment.
Trump's comments were his first offering of policy proposals on policing and race following the death on May 25th of George Floyd, an African-American man who died after a Minneapolis policeman knelt on his neck for nearly 9 minutes. His death prompted a wave of protest in U.S. cities and across the world, re-energizing the Black Lives Matter racial justice movement. America's top military officer says he made a mistake last week in accompanying President Donald Trump on a walk through a Washington park that had been cleared of largely peaceful protesters. AP's Sagar Meghani reports.
Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley was in his combat uniform as he walked with the presidential entourage through Lafayette Park shortly after authorities used force to clear it. In remarks to a National Defense University commencement ceremony, Milley says, "I should not have been there," saying his presence created a perception of the military being involved in domestic politics. Milley's statement risks backlash from a president sensitive to any perceived criticism of events he staged. The Pentagon's relations with the White House are tense after a disagreement over the president's threat to use active-duty troops to tamp down civil unrest. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
This is VOA News. A federal appeals court has sided with the Trump administration in a lawsuit brought by a top labor union on coronavirus worker protections. AP's Mike Grazia reports.
A federal appeals court has ruled the Trump administration does not have to issue an emergency rule requiring employers to protect workers from the coronavirus. The unanimous ruling came from a 3-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. In its 2-page ruling, the appeals court said the Occupational Safety and Health Administration is entitled to considerable deference in its decision not to issue an emergency temporary standard. The AFL-CIO sued last month in a bid to compel the Labor Department's workplace safety arm to issue coronavirus workplace safety requirements. Mike Grazia, Washington.
The coronavirus is beginning to reemerge, but there's a number of reasons to explain the increased number of cases found by the Associated Press in 21 states. Correspondent Tim McGuire reports.
In Texas, which has its most COVID-19 hospitalizations ever, thousands defied Governor Greg Abbott's order and hit the beaches and water parks over the Memorial Day weekend. People in Arizona flocked to the bars and restaurants when restrictions were lifted in mid-May, ignoring social distancing guidelines. In North Carolina, the increase in cases is likely due to more people getting out and about and more testing overall. No matter the reason, health experts are increasingly concerned that the trend will get worse as people return to work and venture out during the summer. I'm Tim McGuire.
Another week of a declining number of applications for jobless aid. AP correspondent Mike Hempton reports just 1 in 9 jobs that were lost in April and May due to COVID-19 has returned.
Officially, nearly 21 million people are considered unemployed. But economists say when you factor in the workers who are erroneously categorized as employed in the May jobs report and those who lost jobs but didn't search for new ones, the number of people out of work is about 32.5 million. Mike Hempton, Washington.
The plug has been pulled on another television show featuring cameras following police around. AP Entertainment correspondent Oscar Wells Gabriel has the details.
Live PD has met the same fate as Cops. It, too, has been canceled. A&E Network says it has stopped production on the reality TV series. Word of Live PD's cancellation also comes on the heels of a report that a crew from that show filmed the arrest of a black man who died after being restrained and repeatedly hit with a stun gun by police in Texas. The case is under investigation. The fatal encounter never aired on Live PD. A&E has said the footage was not kept and wasn't requested by authorities. I'm Oscar Wells Gabriel.
For more, visit voanews.com.